Hello and welcome. Today's date is not that of the 15th day of August, 2015. My name is Derek, and looking at Bitcoin here, showing a lot of weakness amongst the 18 average of lows and at 261 bucks. But before that date, we would have recently seen beforehand price come action to the 18, which, coinciding with this level of resistance. There was a really good run that got us here. We were down a lot. This was just, even that was, this was just way too low. And even before it was, and we've had this long waited attempt for price action, but we just have to give the benefit of the doubt that the price is going to go lower. And back then, boy, did it ever. Oh my goodness, look at that. Those who held on during that time, well, that was back when the price was 200. And who today even cares about what happened when they moved into September? And oh my goodness, October came, it was got up to 244. Who cares? Today's date comes in that of the 5th of October, but it's going to change to the 6th, and it already is the 6th in Europe because it's 10 p.m. Eastern time. Well, in 22 seconds from now, it will be. And what do we see on Bitcoin here on the same 8-hour time frame? We were up in this area and we came up a long way. So yada yada yada. Maybe it goes down, maybe it doesn't. But will people be caring about what happened on October 2nd and October 7th and 10th and 15th in 2020 and 2023? So if you're playing for the short term and not play, I'd be looking for short setups, all bets, trades of the like. Well, that's obviously within each's own risk and their own reward. So as we can see with the 8, we had this decline. Price action has started its correctionary phase here. It has not completed it. There was an attempt to finish correctionary phase in here because comes down to this low, consolidate, and now we're leaving the 18, but no. And then it gets above it, so enough to neutralize the situation. Down to the lows, but no breakouts. It looks like it's having it now, but that's all it's doing is looking like it might have a spot. And I'd be thinking, oh, next move. I don't know what's going to happen next, but probably come down this support, but yeah, favored to go lower there after that. And just like I showed before, how much lower? That's the next question. And well, my guess, of course, would be low 6,000 if it does it, but will we be talking about? Oh my goodness! Remember when Bitcoin was 8,000 and we had one of our normal intermediate term moves that fell 25-30%? Yeah, of course, whatever. Heck, I'll even show the hour chart. But if you're playing the game trying to make your score go higher in cryptos, there's a big difference with this game score because you can take your score and actually do interesting things with it. But if you play Super Mario Brothers or any of those kinds of things and you get those gold coins, what are you going to do with it? Yeah. Okay, attempt to get above the 18 here. We had a little attempt here, a little attempt here, a little one here after the. What's happened with each after each top? This one comes to this low, and then again eventually to this one. Then the lower low. Eh, matching low but lower low. And from this one, well, higher low, but really 3 hit low. So from the last 3 failed breakouts, price action came down to this general area. Well, now we're on possibly the 4th failed breakout. So that really tells me usually if there's going to be a spot like that, the 4th one, fast, concise move probably to the next level. And on the monthly term, and there's just a little bit of data in here, but as I've talked about how we didn't resist really in here, and while holding and staying above within this 18, now barely starting to rise, 18 average of lows comes in, barely at that 6,000, as I was basically stating, within, of course, not shown in here the key Fibonacci levels around that 63. That's going to be a monster questionary level. Like this is like the monster boss level performance of the game in here. Holding this, it means if you have price come in and set it up in this with everything that's going on is an extremely strong setup. But failure on the 18 after attempting to get over this, that's when it becomes an interesting situation. And if I don't know, if I'm not doing any fundamental analysis and this is all I'm looking at, then that's all I can go on, the either or situation. And there's a lot of people into cryptocurrency not because of cryptocurrency, but because of fiat currency. Now let's switch over to Bitcoin dominance and just look at it quickly on multiple time frames from long to short, starting with the monthly. And we're back in this day in here. Bitcoin was the king. The cryptos were still hardly known. I was bashing them like a lot of other gold and silver people will say. And a few of them, including myself, managed at some point to say, hey, you know what, this whole Bitcoin thing, cryptocurrency thing, just might work. I'm even saying to people, if you don't believe in cryptocurrencies, but you believe in precious metals, I mean, there's an opportunity to increase your precious metals by playing cryptos, using it as a, I don't know, like just a, like using, literally using it as a means to get, like a means to an end. That's probably a way of saying it. So for me, I got into it right around in here, which is like so crazy. So at this point, I was like, yeah, altcoins, what are they all about in here? And then the crazy moves that occurred. So we've got some volatility. We got key high, key low. We still, and a lot of times, one of the things when I can teach and train, when I'm showing charts early on, is you got a big move and a big correction. So you have a key top, we'll say the breakdown highs, the key lows. We're right now here. We were there back at this point. So we're back to this correctionary level. So where are we going to go to next? This big high or this big low? And you have to figure out an answer. And then if you say it's going to stay within it, well, how can you profit within something that's going to stay in a choppy range? Just ways of looking at the market. It's going to, of course, markets go up, markets go down. There's been the key high, key low, and then so far right now this is the high. And even within this mode, it can come back here just to correct down to this. And for something like this, like Litecoin, Ethereum, much of the other coins would probably start. Well, they would be doing well because they would be what drive this lower. Let's now take a look at the weekly chart. And in viewing it from the 2018 lows, we can see it managed to get up. And this is an interesting. Well, just remember the Bitcoin monthly chart I was mentioning. No resist. Well, gets to the lows, gets to the highs, gets above the highs, and just stays there. Of course, only for a couple periods. This case, it dipped below the lows, but it held and stayed above. So, like one thing I always look for is you're allowed one leg lower. So this is that one leg. Of course, it never broke it. And here it was trying to recapture the correctionary mode, at least from the negative aspect. This was the area of trying to leave it. And then, of course, getting above resistance. So Bitcoin could just do something sick like that, break below 6,000, maybe go to like 4,700, then come back up to like, well, this would be the equivalency of 17, or not 17, 13,000, and then just, of course, go much higher after that. Those are just things you got to watch out for. That there's a lot of sick volatility in this environment. And for myself, I'm looking for volatility, so that's why I like this market. Okay, so this move had a correctionary play in here done successfully. Lots of tests within this level, but never broke it. From the time it left in here, we don't know what the high is here. It didn't really break through much, so I'm not going to count that as anything but just a small, shorter term key high and low. So this high, this low. Now it's at the 18. So same thing here. If it can rally from here and go higher, then I'm not going to count this as the high. Whatever the new high happens to be, will be that. But weakness on the 18 lows. If you start to see it, then you have to start to talk about, okay, at some point we're going to have decent sized moves below the 18 lows, and that's what we're going to be seeing on the shorter term. Because now we're going to switch to the daily. And from the April 1st lows, that key point in here, support established, and this is where it went well below it, and it had few hits, but never broke it. This support test didn't even break the 18 to go its direction up. This one did go flat and a little bit below, but not nowhere near as long or as big as this. Had a lot of support within it here. But now we finally had a move that went below it. But same thing, same rule as in like, okay, as long as it's just one leg, nothing too big. But since this has took place, we've had the price or the charts come up to this level and now showing all of this continued weakness now amongst this level. So it now looks as if it might be poised where we're talking about key high, key low, key high, and filling whatever empty space. Maybe it's just a lame move down to here. Maybe it's a, yeah, okay, not so bad. And maybe it's pretty good and goes down here. And maybe it's spectacular and makes and breaks 100% retracement. Because right now, from here to here, what have we retraced, like 10, 12%? This would be about 50%. This is 100%. And this would be somewhere around 130%, which is making a big move, a new lower low type thing or whatever. On the 8 hour, we can already see how this is looking to do the same sort of deal here. We got all of these nice higher lows, or all of these beforehand. And now this last rally in here shows the weakness on the 18 lows. It didn't support it well. Well, there's your first move that you're allowed down. But then it went below it, so things are changing. Now we got all this resistance in here. What bear markets do, we've already been here once. We've kind of been there again. We're now here again. One of the things we could do in spots like this is actually spend a significant amount of time here. It's a possibility. There's so many different things. But that's just like ranging in like a range like this for like 10, 12, whatever amount of periods. But as it goes, to me, this does look like this is poised for a downturn. And we're just looking at this entire thing from what we can see on the hour. Or actually 3 hour, but either way, it doesn't matter the time frame, it's just how the pattern looks. So you have this move, and the line where we're in now, this is of course where the support was hit twice. So then you fill that empty space in here. How much do you retrace? Close to half from here to here. And the 61.8% holding, this is about 61.8% correction area from this high, and we can see how it's failing in here, staying in this lower end, showing this complete part is a huge failure. That's what it's looking like. And because we were in this area for a bit here, had this resist where this previous support was, now the breakdown of the 18 occurs here, supporting the low, and what's happened now just with this. You had all of this resistance test. It's now left the 18 lows as it's doing. If you're looking for when it's going to happen, it's like an ASAP kind of deal, at least from my point of view. On the single hour, it's impressive in a spot in here because you have this good decline, establish a support, retested in here, and then this is a level where it noticeably breaks below. So generally speaking, when that happens and you have this rally that goes, it doesn't rally above the 18 highs. It's going to come up to the highs, but not above it. So that said a lot. The fact that the price action could at least, or whenever you see this, we'll just say it's price action. That's okay. Maybe it's enough to flatten, stop this downtrend. But the 18 lows is the big thing I need to see it hold, and this is not what it's supposed to do in a bullish level. That's what it's supposed to do in a bearish level. Okay, so fine, that's fine. You come down to it this period, you even hold it. But if I see you do this, a couple pauses, then I break down below. And even now, 44 minutes left. We're a quarter of the way through this current period, and it's not showing any bullishness whatsoever. The odds do favor that if I were to make a guess, where are we going to probably be in like 10, 20 periods from now? Well, whether we'll still be there, I think we'll at least within the next 20 periods have a significant move lower. And on the 15-minute, this will be the last time frame I'm going to show. There we see this come down at 12 o'clock. Earlier today, this was lunchtime. Right now, it's 10:16 p.m. And this was that big statement move at 1600 hours. Manages to have this breakout, but 18 lows again, so this is where you're allowed to, hold and stay above it. No. You see the weakness in here is not making this a surprise move. And as this 18 average is declining, I wouldn't be surprised if you see it not for these for the next little bit not do well when it hits the 18 via price or time. Time is going sideways. Price, well, right now we can see if you come back to where you come from and something like that, that would not be a shocker. And if we look at coins like Litecoin, which, well, since that April 15 top, which is or April 1st, that's when Bitcoin dominance started right in here. Dominance started right in here. So on that BTC, a decent sized move would mean coins like this and Litecoin would potentially and probably and highly probable have spectacular moves. Now, right now, as far as this is concerned, this is an interesting pattern as it stands out. As I stated on the outset, one of the earlier things I would think is a good idea to teach people in charting is when you have a significant move of key low and high, whatever, it doesn't matter if it goes up or down, in this case it went up, and then you go somewhere near the middle, what do you take out next? Because eventually there's going to be so many times the situation is going to come up, and this is, of course, one of them. And it's been in this decline for quite some time. So since that big point I talked about, that April top, or the April Bitcoin dominance beginning, it all started with big key leg lower here. The phenomenal failed breakout, and I say phenomenal based on what it did better than all the other altcoins did at this point, but obviously was able to go and hold. And significant 1, 2, 3, 4 legs from this move, where each time what happened after each low comes up to this 18, not much more. This, it showed a lot of strength amongst the 18 average of highs in the attempt to revert it. Never really did get above this level of resistance. In here, spent a little bit of time at the 18 along the way. And in here, of course, well, that's where we are from this is the last one. This time it got up, it flattened the band, established a level of resistance, it came back to where we came from. So we're still at the point of the completion of stage 3. For stage 4 to happen, it's got to get above the 18 highs and then this resistance. But we're at a point where it's going to have to break one side or another. So we're looking at, oh, this looks like a failed breakout. Yeah, well, this looks like a failed breakdown. One of them is going to have to play itself out through. We've seen in here from this point, it showed a lot of weakness on the 18 lows, but that's changed. Adjust to the message of the market. That started in here on this day where the price closed at this point. But more importantly, the next day it managed to get above this very short-term level of resistance. That day was that was Friday. Saturday session. It's a continuation of that, getting to the highs. We can see a short-term uptrend. So that type of status is changing, but everything is still remaining in okay. We had first this key high and key low, it's got to break. Now we got even this key low and this key high, it's got to break. This key low and this key high. So another way of putting it, this is a symmetrical spot. It's waiting for a significant move to one side or another. And when we use Bitcoin dominance as our first indicator to try to help us determine which is more probable than the other, then maybe it would have that to the upside, but always markets are going to do what it's going to do. Let's try to examine what's been going on within this more on the shorter term time frame from this movement here. And we'll use a single hour to do it. So a lot of support came in here. And as far as where resistance was, there was a level here. That was the lower end, I guess you could call it. And the higher end, interestingly, basically in his, well, you got the higher end here. So it's still within that resistance range. But as far as price action, it never really even got above this line. So how it has been supporting this move in this fashion, I think is, well, it's a good start as far as this major reversal given the fact that it's lost 3 times its value against BTC. This resistance was established. That's an A for correction as far as the school grade. It passed because it's hit this support low. It never took it out. This move here is a new statement in the story. It broke established resistance. Now, one thing I'd like to see if it's not going to go off now is to hold and stay above here, support this area. And it did exactly that here. Now it kind of is resisting this area, but we're still at least supporting this level of resistance, and most importantly, supporting the 18 average of lows. It has been stuck in this band now since, well, it pretty much hit it at 12 o'clock. So all day it's been in this. And when it got up to this, I did have a sneak peek seeing, oh my goodness, LTC over the 7 handle. I'm like, it's been a long time since I've seen that. And yeah, the 007, that's such a low price number. But I know how wild and roller coaster these moves are. And I remember as a kid riding the Bat at Canada's Wonderland, how fun that was. Man, roller coasters are fun. You just got to, just got to enjoy the ride, I guess, another way of putting it. So until it leaves it, it's just a waiting game. 18 average of highs comes in at the 6994 handle. It hasn't been there like since it got there. This level of support at 6950, it hasn't broke it yet. And let's move on. Take a quick look at Ethereum against Bitcoin. Hourly time frame. Okay, so I guess we kind of are supporting this area. We had this resistance hit. Failed breakdown in here, really, because this level of support was taken out and came back down above it. So thus, this move here during this entire run successfully corrected. And then it broke out, retesting previous high. And so far correcting this 18. But within these periods in here. This is showing, oh, this thing almost looks active, like the kettle's boiling. It's ready to get going. Looks like a good setup from here. Let's take a look at the next time frame, the 8 hour. And obviously it had a good run from this low. And this is filling empty space. And it didn't do much, it didn't take much time. And it didn't do much of that space to fill. Because you have this move, this high, this low, and what a phenomenal move in here. So therefore, cents in here. What a beautiful correctionary move within the 18. Retest this area, successfully play with the low. Major showing strength within the 18 average of highs. And on the daily, if you've watched enough of my videos to know, and it's a pretty good setup right here. But it's also been getting its ass kicked as well. Weekly chart. And highs and lows known after the fact are so easy to identify. And I mean, I don't have to count that one because it didn't break it. But from this level, we kind of have had this, and we've matched this in here. Have this high. But what we're seeing here is the possibility of the long term. Let me just remove the drawings again to make it easier to show. So this key level here. If price action is any type of behavior in the area of quickly, which means within 3-4-ish kind of deal, so basically by Halloween-ish, and even a little after, Halloween to U.S. Thanksgiving, come in up to this area here, we'd be looking at a super duper long. If I happen to have to draw like a box here because price is in here, then we're talking about moving up to here on this time frame. So that's the type of possibilities that are there. On the contrary, if we resist where we come from, well, we've already established this low. The previous low is down here. But of course, all the short-term stuff that I've shown seems really bullish. It got up to the 18 average of highs this couple periods ago. It pretty much paused it. It stayed within it, went down on the lows, closed near the highs. We're looking at the weekly chart. So what day is it today? Oh, this is the end of the week. We're like, yeah. So what a great hold. Like this is like pausing this move. This is a strong setup in itself. So this to me states that we should probably make it to where we came from. between the 25 and the 30 handle. And the final coin theta, we'll do the same thing, long term to short, weekly chart. Just have to look at this as a trader. How can I take advantage of this? How can I take advantage of this? Is there anything in here that's playable? Of course, I trade this with the ratio. I recently sold some for Neo and Dash. So it's doing pretty good short term, but I mean, so this is at the lower end of this range. It doesn't look so good. Now on the daily, as far as those opportunities are concerned, well, days like this, you can sell up here, buy down there, sell up here, buy down there. Maybe we might get back into sell territory. There were several hit lows here, and got it to the 18 highs. Didn't break down too much, but it did a bit. Got up there again, had a big pullback, and now we're back again at this point again. So you look at this in itself, you can just see it's a double bottom just by looking at this. Because I can see two V's or two U's, however you want to look at on that. I can see it's trying to get above the 18 average of highs. Doing so after another successful, we'll call it violent correction, but whatever word you want to use just for extra aggressiveness. And that's the way the markets can be. Switching into the 3, and sorry for that little flicker there, but things again to look at. Mix it to this high and this low. I mean, this is cool stuff. This happened back on September 25th, but price went from 1079 to 969. It's only like a 10% move, but if you take advantage of those situations, hey, why not? From this last low, we've had corrections twice from the 18 lows. The first one brought price action up to here. And then leaving here, got up to here. Now this is not leaving from the 18 lows. This is leaving from the 18 highs, which is whatever, either way. But it has left correctionary phase. It has broken resistance. It has already went really to the lower end to where I think it would go to. I got an alert towards the upper end, or really a breakout area towards this point. But if you get to an interesting situation if price comes here, because yeah, we're overextended from this low, and it's not a surprise for it to cool off, maybe come back down in here, just do some sort of side stuff. But I've seen situations if it comes up here, it could just have superior moves in spots like that when you have these levels of resistance like this that are so huge, which is really the entire September resistance. On the single hour, when we look at from this low again in here, this one here is where it corrected. This one matched this one. Obviously didn't break below it again. Successful correction in here. And this was the last one. It's broken this resistance, and that's a very good leg higher. It's most likely going to have to correct, meaning it's probably more likely that we're going to meet up with the 18 before taking out this as a next move rather than taking out this high. And whether it does it with sharp moves and we come back down to the 18 lows or break below it or whatever, who knows? And whether it successfully corrects it on what would be the 5th time will be, I don't know. But because you see, as it stands now, it's had this high a couple periods ago and it hasn't been able to break it. It looks like maybe this run might be running out of steam for like the short-term situation, and that something like that could come into place. But if it doesn't, we've already had volatility or like statements being made. If you see it start to break out above here and get through this, this is all it's had, then we're looking at large size candles. We're looking at situations of, okay, let's fill, like go here like in no time, like, oh, 4 or 5%, 8% moves in like 8 minutes kind of stuff. And finally, the 15-minute, after this level of resistance, and from the time it left, the 18 lows was in here, retested this level of resistance, and like I've stated so many times, you break a key level, fast moves. Well, hit once, hit twice, consolidated there the third time, broke it there, and oh my goodness, nice, amazing move. Very violent correction back to this level in here. Nice retest of previous area, but as we've seen in here, well, 18 average highs not succeeding. It's had a good amount of time to Think about where it's been in the 1080 to in the 1080s range, and it's obviously rejecting it now down to 1073. And so, as I showed on the 1 hour, it wouldn't be a surprise if it comes back down a little bit more, and then just at least for now gets its volatility back into solid ground. And from a move from key low to key high, always important to just find some sort of higher low. The most obvious spot you would think if there's going to be any correction is where it came from, somewhere usually around 61.8, which I don't know where it'd be. Maybe you can somewhere. Anyway, thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.